Good morning, beautiful people of America and the rest of the world. Welcome back to another episode of The Closing Table. This is episode number 36, and you will not want to believe what's next.
What's next? What's next? Good morning. Good morning, fam. Friends, it's Daniel White here. Let's get ready to rise and grind and figure out what the hot topics are today.
Man, I think we got some nice topics today as well. I really am excited about what's coming. Overall, what's coming. There's a lot of opportunity that's going to be taking place, and the people that have been preparing for the worst will be able to take advantage of the worst. And I know that sounds horribly bad, but this has been a cycle that's been going on in the economical structure for millennials now.
Yeah, we weren't the first to bring it to the table.
We were not the first to bring it to the table and won't be the last,
Nope.
fortunately. So
Yeah. That sucks that we have to say it that way, but it's true.
facts are facts, right?
Facts are facts.
Everybody, welcome back to The Closing Table. If you are on YouTube, please hit that like button and subscribe button and the notification bell. If you haven't already, please jump in the comment section. We would love to hear from you today on these beautiful and wonderful topics that we're going to be discussing. And if you have any questions, just drop them in the comment section. We will read off your questions as we go along. And remember, there is a few minutes delay from what you're seeing and what we're responding to. So yeah. Just bear with us, right?
Yeah, we don't want anybody to get mad at us.
Yeah, that we're not reading off your questions. But other than that, I mean, how's your morning, man? Everything's good?
It's Thursday, man. Yeah, it's going pretty good, man. I can't believe. I feel like we were just here talking on Monday, and now we're back on Thursday. It's crazy.
It's funny because I had one of my long time friends recently. Well, me and my long time friend, we was been knowing each other since high school. He's part of that circle of me and Isaac and such. Just real quick, we had one of our longtime friends. They just recently passed Monday. They have been suffering with diabetes for a long time, and it just got the best of them. Unfortunately, I can't even make it. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. Unfortunately, I can't even make it to the funeral. His mother is pressing the funeral to be literally tomorrow morning, and I won't be able to make it, unfortunately. So that's a bit devastating. But yeah, we gotta keep pressing forward. But yeah, we was talking, and he was like, "Man, I watched your podcast Monday, man, and it was amazing. I had to watch the whole thing. It was so good."
Well,
that's a plus, man.
I'm glad that he enjoyed it because I got yelled at by one of my gun friends. They're like, "Hey,
really?
Hey, yeah." They're like, "Armel, like AR. It's not what you think it is." And I'm like, "Okay." So then I had to go into it and dig it, and I still stand my ground. I'm like, they still suck. You don't need them.
And I agree with you. Your opinion is valid. But again, our opinion is valid as well. I think that's the common ground with America, that we all can have our opinions and still be able to be friends. I mean, I didn't pull out my gun and want to go down to Florida and shoot Daniel because he had an opinion about, guns. I mean, why do we need to go that far, right? I think some people honestly, I don't know what I'm that passionate about. I mean, maybe family, but I mean, if something was to even go to be that,
No, they're serious, man. Like they are. I'm that serious about my family and my business and my partners, right? Guns are crazy, man. People they'll run you off the road if you talk about their guns.
Indeed.
But the facial expression that I got when I was confronted with this was like, "All right, man, you like this stuff."
Yeah, it's okay, bro.
He's probably listening right now, be like, "God damn it, Daniel."
Well, before we get started, real quick, B. Walker, good morning. Again to you as well, Daniel. Good morning. Dolores, good morning. Destiny, good morning. And yes, happy Thursday to you all. Please jump in the comment section. So today we got some really good topics. I think that'll be really informative. And I think one of the first things we really need to start out talking about, me personally, is this Tucker Carlson and Elon Musk situation. I'm super excited. I'm super excited about this situation. Now, not sure how you feel. I know you're not a huge fan of Tucker, but I know you've, over the past few months, you've really, come out to respect his opinion and his interviews a little bit more. But yeah, I mean, Tucker Carlson started off as a Democrat as well. He used to work for CNN. He's had multiple shows, and I think over the years he's been able to educate himself outside of what he was told to say on camera, and has come to the conclusion that he's more of a Republican in a sense, or just more for just fairness across the board when it comes to people being able to live the type of lives they want to live. But a lot of people dislike the fact that he's honest and he supports Trump and things of that nature. He's interviewed Kanye West, and we know Kanye West has been very, very vocal about certain things over the past few.
No, he hasn't. No, he doesn't speak his mind at all. Yeah.
Who, Tucker or Kanye?
No.
Which one?
No, Tucker Carlson's fine. Kanye West, he speaks his mind whenever he wants, even if he doesn't have a microphone in front of him.
I mean, he's been really quiet of lately, though. I mean,
maybe somebody grounded him or something. I don't know. But
it could have been an Adidas situation. We never know, right? But yeah, I mean, overall, I think Tucker Carlson getting fired from Fox was actually a good thing, in my opinion. It was a good thing, in my opinion. I think Tucker is going to be able to build a new brand, build a new identity, be able to really express himself in a way that actually helps him build a more realistic fan base, and not have to really worry about the political aspect of being canceled or things like that, unless he just go too far, and pushes the boundaries too much.
That's my big fear. That's my big fear. Like, again, I've been a big critic of both of these, because I think now we have two nuts in one bag right now. This is a little crazy. They're both going to be able to feed it. I mean, again, trust me, I invest in the craziness, right? So I like them to a sense, but two of them, it's going to be a wild ride. And my thing is, when it comes to the censorship and stuff like that, and certain things that they can say, I hope that they don't take it too far, because I know Carlson can really, really push and tread on that fine line. And now with being on Twitter, and really you can kind of say what you want at this moment. I hope it doesn't get crazy out of line. We saw the how it worked with Trump when he was running for election and all of that stuff. It got a little crazy back then, right? People getting canceled and censored and all of that stuff. So I do look for a good show. I just hope that he doesn't get too cocky and run it into the ground.
Yeah, and it's again, I can agree with that. Let me ask you this: how do you feel about the cancel culture? Like, when it comes to a lot of these celebrities being canceled for saying some of the things, like the Rosie O'Donnell, when she got canceled for saying what she said about one of the, I think it was the not the Speaker of the House at the time, but one of the House representatives said she was like the person from the Planet of the Apes or something like that, which they try to make a racial,
correct, man. It doesn't matter. Anything you say, they could turn it and twist it another way. There's certain things that when people talk about, you're like, man, probably not the best topic of conversation, right? Like, you can move on, you can leave it for what you want, but there's definitely a lot more. I mean, you even listen to some of these other YouTubers out there, their shows get canceled for certain things that they say and do and talk about. Mm-hmm. It's a little crazy. I mean, where's the freedom of speech? Like, let them allowed to speak. But again, I also understand for those big television companies and stuff like that. I mean, it's all about commercials and advertisement and all of that stuff. So there's a business behind it. Yeah, you're allowed to say certain things, but there's a business behind it. And we've got mouths to feed. We've got to put money into our investors and stuff like that. So it does get a little crazy sometimes. Sometimes I shake my head. I'm like, I don't really think that was too outlandish or anything like that. But, I'm not sitting there at that round table making those decisions for Fox and CNN and MSNBC and YouTube neither, right? Don't cancel us.
Yeah, and again, this reason why I'm asking this, but I don't want to stay on this topic too much. But this kind of, I think it's becoming more of a fine balance. The thing about life, and if you notice in life, there's always been an extreme right, there's always been an extreme left at some point, but at some point we always find that happy medium. You know, there's always seems like we come to a happy medium. At one point that we was super religious in the world and no one could do anything outside of the eyes of God. And then, you know, those rebellious people against the church started getting their rights and their notoriety and being able to speak freely and do as thou wilt freely. And now we have people like Bud Light, who went under a massive controversy a couple weeks ago with Mr. Mulvaney or Mrs. Mulvaney. Not sure how to approach that. No, so forgive me for my mispronouncing, you know, identifying people or things. And
careful, I don't want to get canceled.
That's why I'm saying I forgive me for my forgive me for my lack of education. So yeah, but just on that basis, there has been a lot of, you know, different controversies where, okay, at one point, maybe a couple years ago, Dylan would have been a martyr for a company like that, and the backlash wouldn't have been so heavy. But now we're seeing super backlash from American people who's like, no, we're not dealing with this. Now stocks are falling. You know, they're rethinking their, you know, approach to certain situations. They're firing people because of what they consider a mistake. So I think a fine balance is starting to, you know, to start coming along to and start to present itself as people have a right to like and dislike what they want and be verbal about it as well, you know, without the backlash of that. I think that's a great fine line to have as an American economy, as a democracy.
Well, I think Elon Musk has Twitter to do whatever you want, right? I mean, it's you know, I mean, that's what he's all about. That's what he keeps saying, right? I mean, you know, sooner or later, man, they're gonna have to put a pause on that guy buying things.
Yeah,
Twitter, Google,
come on, man. We can't
crazy things, man.
We can't block Elon Musk from allowing a democracy to live on, bro. So let's go ahead and move on.
Will you clap when he gets on the rocket and flies to Mars or whatever it is that he wants to do, right?
I'm a flat earther, bro. I don't want to get too much into that, but I don't think we're ever leaving Earth. So with that being said,
I'm not. I'm keeping my feet right here, man. I'm keeping my feet right here.
Yes, let's move on. Title 42, the Title 42 situation.
Don't want to be there today. I do not want to be there today.
Oh, no, that's going to be hectic. That is going to be hectic as shit. A public health policy that went into effect March 2020 that allowed U.S. Border Patrol to turn away migrants seeking asylum to prevent the further spread of COVID. I don't even know if I should be saying COVID. Maybe I should just say the pandemic. Title 42 received criticism from the ACLU and other advocacy organizations for using public health as a pretext for keeping immigrants out of the country. But before I move on, I want that statement right there. It was a pretext to keeping immigrants out of the country. I'm trying to wrap my head around how is this a bad thing again? Because I mean, I know a lot of people that can barely survive here now. We want to just let more people in that's undocumented. How is this a bad thing? Can we talk about that for a second?
James, I honestly, I look at this and I've read over it and I've watched so many different shows and conversations about this. This is a mess across the board. This is just an absolute mess. And at the end of today, unless it expired at midnight last night, because I know it's Thursday, right? So is it at the end of today?
Sometime today. I don't know if they do midnight or they got.
Yeah, I don't know either. I'm trying to think of like legal documents here in real estate. I'm like, does it go to midnight? Because technically it goes to midnight that day. But yeah, I mean, this is getting ready to get out of hand. I've seen a couple of interviews from like Border Patrol people, stuff like that. I've even had a conversation with one of my neighbors that, you know, is part of it. And, you know, the lack of communication right now is the big key across the board. And what to do. They honestly don't know what to do, right? We're going to have 10,000, 15,000 people swarming the borders.
I heard it was more like 2 million. So,
I mean, overall, I think they're expecting like 10,000 a day, 15,000 to 15,000 people a day is what they're expected.
Oh my goodness.
I did read also that certain states like Chicago, Texas, did state of emergency, stuff like that.
Yes, they did.
I can tell you right now, Ron DeSantis is standing at each one of the points of Florida right now. You know, you see him in his suit and his jacket and his red tie. So he's out there on patrol as well.
I'm gonna say it's the typical Trump appearance, but go ahead.
You know what, man? I know we're going to talk about Trump and all that stuff, but man,
Yeah, we're gonna.
it was funny, man. I'll save it for Trump and DeSantis when we talk about it, right? Because it's funny. But yeah, man, it's gonna be a straight up mess. This is gonna be crazy. It's gonna be the topic of conversation. But is it a distraction from something else that's happening?
And how many times have we said that, right? How many times have we mentioned this is just another distraction from everything else that's happening? And just real quick, let me touch bases on this because my perspective of this is I used to be one of those people who was like, this is a free country. We should be able to let everybody in until I wasn't able to get a job, or until I was unable to figure out, okay, why am I being priced out of the workforce? Not only the fact was I lazy as shit, but when I actually needed to make money, I couldn't go out and find a job anywhere. And personally, I mean, I understand it. Why people want to come here? Why people want to come here and help us build our economy? But it's also hurting our economy at the same time because of the massive influx of immigrants that are moving here undocumented. I have no problem with someone going through the proper processes of getting the documentation they needed to actually, come here, build their lives, build their family lives, work visas, whatever they need to do to come here and properly establish themselves as an American citizen. But there's so much going on, criminally, and not only just criminally, just like with infiltration, possibly, having spies come over and just being able to infiltrate our government, infiltrate our armies, infiltrate our, police forces. There's just so much that I think we need stricter boundaries on our borders, on our, immigration.
In your research in reading and everything, does it say anywhere the number of undocumented immigrants? I know not all of them are undocumented, but any idea what the percentage is? Have you seen that?
No, I didn't get.
It's just while you were talking, I was thinking about it, right?
Yeah, no, I didn't. And if anybody has it in the comment section, please drop it in the chat. We would love to know the number of undocumented, reported, quote unquote, because you can't document something that's undocumented, right?
Yeah. But I mean, they, if they don't have any paperwork, and then they just say, "Hey, I'm Daniel White," they're gonna probably just turn you away. So that's kind of what I'm looking for.
Got you. Yeah, no, unfortunately,
those, right?
Unfortunately, I don't. It doesn't say in my research. I didn't actually look at that part, but it is saying that right now there's an estimated 2,300 people are living on the streets of El Paso, Texas, and Brownville, and El Dorado. So the homeless is really taking over the streets of Texas, and they're pretty much trying to usher them more towards Chicago and New York, since those places are more of a acceptable space for them, because most of those cities and states are okay with immigrant migration, so they're pretty much put them on buses and taking them to New York and Chicago. So,
the thing that, and I know your parents probably said this to you. I know my parents said this to me. Unfortunately, there's bad apples in every single bunch in every single business, and it ruins it for the actual people that have the paperwork, that really want to come over here and be successful, and stop having somebody, every morning waking up and they're at the stop sign. There's a guy there with rifles and guns and gangs and all of that stuff. Like I don't want that for anybody, but there's a right way to do it. And if you don't have the paperwork, turn around, stop wasting our money, please. Yeah.
Totally agree. We have more things we need to be doing.
We have more shit to deal with, right? Exactly. Smoke and mirrors. That's what it is today and the next day. Smoke and mirrors, man.
Real quick before we move on, the reason that Title 42 is expiring because it was only legal because of the national public health emergency. Now that the Biden administration is ending the emergency, Title 42 has no legal basis. But now, and again, I understand that. But maybe they're boosting this to be bigger than what it actually is, like you said, for distractional reasons, and just kind of get our focus in another arena. But I mean, like that.
We're gonna have to piece all this together next week to figure out what the smoke and mirrors
is, right? But I think we can't sit here and say that there hasn't been illegal immigrants or illegals coming across our border for the past 10, 12 months. Anyways, it's just now that they're just using this as an influx to say, okay, we're just going to usher tens of thousands or more through a day versus the 1,200 that was coming, prior to that. So, yeah.
And it's going to be, James, you know what it's going to be. It's going to be Democrats saying, well, it was bad to begin with. We shouldn't have had it in place. This is what needs to be. And then you're going to have Trump saying, let it go. It's just back and forth, beating each other up. Why, again, something else is going on the backside.
Yep. I totally agree.
And again, guess what? Election's coming up in 14 months, 15 months. And guess who's the topic of conversation? Trump and Biden. Trump and Biden. Yep.
You're totally right about that. Bernadette said, B. Walker said, not just a mess, a crime. 700,000 undocumented. I'm pretty sure that's what she was going with that. 700,000. No. She said approximately 15.5 million undocumented workers in 2022. Whew, that's a lot of people. Way more than what I was expecting, to be totally honest with you. Democrats are making illegal legal to make them the new permanent underclass and Democratic bases. He's talking about you, Danny.
I got that text last night. No, I pulled the James last night. I was like, you know what? We're going to watch a movie. That's what we're going to do. I'm not going to watch YouTube. I'm not going to research anything. I'm not. And when I woke up this morning, I saw the text. Are you watching I'm like, no, I wasn't.
Yeah. It was actually super entertaining.
I'm sure it was, James. Like, yeah, I'm definitely sure it was entertaining.
Super entertaining, man.
How many times did the hair move? That's what I count.
Oh, that thing was bouncing around everywhere, bro. It was bouncing around everywhere.
I'm sure he was hot and heated because he was definitely $5 million less in the pockets. So
the CBDC. Do anybody know what that is? If you don't know what the CBDC is, well, I'm gonna let you know right here. And we have had this conversation a few times over the past month on how this could possibly change the world, change our lives, how it could be very invasive on our personal, private lives, and the government is going to be using it to control us. This is central bank digital currency. And if you haven't heard about the unicorn, one of them, it's pretty much a currency that's, digital currency that involves America, China, everybody that we supposed to be hating, So, I mean, I don't know how this is going to work, but I know that it could be rolling out. The thing about the CBDC is the government doesn't print money. The government doesn't create coins. The government doesn't have the infrastructure to implement a digital currency. So this is going to be a third-party currency, just like the Federal Reserve prints our money. It's a third party. It's not actually a part of the government. The government doesn't have the infrastructure or the people or the tech. I'm not going to say they don't have the technology. They could definitely get the technology, but I don't think they have the time or resources.
Just call Elon.
Say that again?
So all you got to do is call Elon.
Right. I mean, true. I mean,
he'll come up with it.
Yeah. But yeah, overall, the government doesn't have the infrastructure to actually dispense a digital currency. Now, this got me really thinking though, Daniel, and I want to know your opinion on this as well. Digital currency is invasive. It's controlled, right?
Correct.
But we also got to think about everything else that we consider currency. There's only really one uncontrollable currency. But if you think about it, when the last time were you able to go through the airport with a lump sum of cash on you? Or anybody? When was the last time were you able to take 3 or 4 gold bars through an airport and get on a plane with them? If you had 10,000 silver coins, which is a heavy load to carry on you, if you have it accessible, when were you able to get on a plane with any of that type of money? When were you able to ever take out $100,000 out of your bank without it taking 3 weeks to clear, or them asking you a series of questions on why you need this money? You can't just go to a bank and say, hey, I want to pull $100,000 out of my account without them drilling you on why do you need this money? where are you spending this money? It's my money. It doesn't matter. No,
remember when
it
it used
does
to be
matter.
10,000 and like it was a big deal. It was like only put $9,999 in the account. Remember that?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, because
otherwise
money,
you get flagged.
because all money is controlled. If you think about it, all currency is controlled to an extent. If you think you're going to put your money in an overseas account like Switzerland or Lebanon or Africa, so what? So they can control that as well. So they can tell you can only get $50 out a week.
Correct. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I mean, like that's my biggest fear is that. Well, a couple things, right? I think people need to understand. Like, if you put $300,000 in a bank account, it's only insured up to $250,000, right? So it gives you a little bit of security knowing that if something happens, there is a website you can go and claim your money and all of that stuff. But if you got anything over 250,000, you could be without it. So I think with this, this currency here, this digital currency, I think people are so in the fear factor stage where it's easy. They hear about Bitcoin. If you forget your passwords and all of that stuff, your money is gone. It's out there in the world and you're never going to get it. So I think people have heard that, and I think they relate to that with this type of money. And how are they going to be able to know that they really have this currency? So I think that's one step that we've got to face. And then the other thing is, again, I don't know what countries it's in that they're using it right now, but even with their dollars, you can only pull $42, $50 out a day. That's like your max, right? Like
exactly.
That's pretty tough, man. I bought lunch for the office yesterday and it was $70. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of, that would suck. You're going to get cheeseburgers and hamburgers.
That would really suck. So yeah, I mean, honestly though, it would take, and I think there's too many people in legislation right now that's against it. Like, they would need a majority vote to push something like this through. They'll need, the American people to be comfortable enough to say, hey, let's move forward on this basis. So I think there's a lot more that's needed before this is actually, implemented, because I think this is just a lot of talk. And again, all of this talk is just marketing for Bitcoin. This is just marketing for, you see how Bitcoin done ran up over the past 2 months since all of this Fed now talk has started?
Yeah, now, it was at 64,000 and then it dropped down to like 16, 17, and now it's at like 30
again. Like, so again, it's just marketing for, because the people that are afraid of this are the ones that are running to Bitcoin. People that are afraid of, being controlled, they're the one who's running to the digital currencies. And the people who are afraid of their digital currencies are like, I don't know which way to go. Just let me keep my cash, or I'm going to buy gold. I'm going to buy silver. But at the end of the day, like we just mentioned, how can you carry that on a plane if you're trying to fly, unless you got a private jet? How are you going to carry all of that, your gold and your silver? It's not easy to go to a restaurant and put a gold brick on the table and say, hey, I'm gonna leave you a tip as well. So it's tangible. Don't get me wrong, it's tangible, but is it plausible as a actual currency in the world that we're in now today? I'm gonna still buy my gold and silver.
I'm gonna tell you, James, I'm in with the majority here, where I'm like I'm still balancing both, right? Like, I tread a little bit into the digital currency because I don't want to be blindsided if it truly goes that way, right? 100%, right? I do like having my cash. I know that's not a thing for you, right? But I do like having my cash. I do have my credit card that I use and stuff like that. And I will tell you, in the last year, I have bought more gold and minerals because of you, my friend. So I'm doing pretty well in that, on that side of things. But, to just jump completely 100% into the digital currency, it's scary as shit. And I'm sure I'm not the only one out there that's scared of it.
That's facts, man. All right, so let's go ahead and get into it. Trump's FU mentality. Trump says he wants people to stop dying, but won't say.
Inform us all of last night's speech, the ones that actually went to bed or started watching a movie, James. I'm watching the John Wick movie, by the way, the series. I've never seen it before.
Oh, so you watching it all? You watching from the start?
We're watching it all. The wife and I are watching it all. So we're
great movies. I hope they don't go too, Fast and the Furious for me. Where everybody becomes superheroes. But
Fast and Furious. What are they on? Like number 20 movie right now?
just shy of that. Just shy of that. They're on number 10. This is the final one. But it's
I thought the last one was the final one, but okay, it's all right. Let's go, Trump. FU mentality.
Yes, as B. Walker said, Trump was in pure comedic form in his hand sign language. That guy's definitely like he know how to. He's a crowd pleaser. He's definitely a crowd pleaser. He got plenty of
years of experience.
Yes, even on CNN, he got plenty of cheers last night, plenty of hand claps. The things he was saying was, beyond, reproach.
So he was on CNN on their show.
He was on CNN. Yes.
Okay.
Amazing. It was amazing. I can't lie. So this is one of the clips that I want to play just to get us into that Trump.
Am I right? CNN did a revamp with all their head people there to create a different platform after the previous election. Did I read that right somewhere?
I'm not quite sure. I haven't actually heard that. I mean, you have to pull it.
I think they got rid of some certain CEOs to kind of change the face of CNN and all that stuff. So I'll definitely watch it.
I mean, you got to realize because they only had their ratings because of the Trump bashing. Like they had all of their ratings majority of the time for the last 3 years because of Trump bashing. When Trump was no longer in office, their ratings sucked. I mean, what they're going to talk.
No, you're right. Not off subject. I will tell you this though: when there is a natural disaster like flooding, my wife has been on major flood claims and stuff like that. I can watch that channel because it's like 24 hours, 7 days a week just on that subject. It's probably a little overboard, but again, when it comes to hurricanes and stuff like that and flooding and claims, I do like watching that stuff, especially when I have a family member or somebody that's out there in the field. Yeah, go on.
Awesome. All right. Trump says he wants people to stop dying. And I think he answered this question in the best form, presidential form that I think anybody could. But let's take a listen. Oh.
Her question is, would you continue to give Ukraine money and weapons if you're elected? What's the answer?
I have a very good relationship with President Zelensky because, as you know, he backed me up with the phony impeachment hoax number one when he said the president didn't do anything wrong. So I happen to like. Yeah, that's right. And I was totally exonerated, by the way. Just a waste of time and money.
You were impeached over that. You were impeached over that. But let's stay on topic here, Mr. President, because the question is, would you give Ukraine weapons and funding?
I was impeached by a crazy woman named Nancy Pelosi.
But the question here is, would you give Ukraine weapons and funding if you were elected?
I would sit down. Let me just put it a nicer way. If I'm president, I will have that war settled in 1 day, 24 hours.
How would you settle that war in 1 day?
Because I'll meet with Putin, I'll meet with Zelensky. They both have weaknesses and they both have strengths. And within 24 hours, that war will be settled. It'll be over. It'll be absolutely over.
Do you want Ukraine to win this war?
I don't think in terms of winning and losing. I think in terms of getting it settled so we stop killing all these people and breaking down this country. Now,
can I just follow up on that? You said you don't think in terms of winning and losing. Mr. President, can I just follow up on that because that's a really important statement that you just made there. Can you say if you want Ukraine or Russia to win this war?
I want everybody to stop dying. They're dying. Russians and Ukrainians. I want them to stop dying. And I'll have that done. I'll have that done in 24 hours. I'll have it done. You need the power of the presidency to do it.
But you won't say that you want Ukraine to win. You
know what I'll say? I'll say this. I want Europe to put up more money because they're in for 20 billion. We're in for 170, and they should be. And they should equalize. They have plenty of money. They should equalize. I got with NATO. When I sat down, I got them to put up hundreds of billions of dollars that they weren't paying under Obama and Bush and all of these other presidents. That's why they're able to help them fight the war because of the money I got. But I want Europe.
What's happening in Ukraine, Mr.
I want Europe to put up more money because they're laughing at us. They think we're a bunch of jerks. We're spending $170 billion for faraway land, and they're right next door to that land, and they're in for 20. I don't think so.
Yo.
Anderson 8 people were with. They were in the audience, but they also have.
How you feel about that?
I am very surprised that CNN put. I cannot think of that anchor's name right now. But I know that when he was president, the two of them did not see eye to eye. So that was a strategic, well played by both parts, right? Like,
bro, they went in. Them two, they was clashing. They was clashing.
Oh, yeah, always, man. Yeah. Every day. Like, I think she got kicked out a couple of times as well, my friend. Like, you know, I don't think they banned her, you know, but definitely kicked out a couple times. So good play on that. I will definitely watch the entire show because, again, he was definitely in rare form there. You know, typical politician avoiding direct, straight answers. But again, you can't. You can't show your side.
But answer me this though. Answer me this. How is it possible to get? All right, let me ask you that question. Do you want Ukraine to win this war?
How do you answer it? Because I'm thinking the same thing right now. I'm like, no, I don't want nobody dying anymore. Building the structure, it's a effing mess.
Right. Like, you can't say if you want Ukraine to win, you can't say you want Russia to win, but then because then you're siding with two people who shouldn't even be fighting in the first place. You know the question I asked you. You know the question I asked you last week before we got off. I said if you was in a room with two groups.
Yeah, there you go.
That's the perfect example. He answered that just like you answered it.
I know. I will tell you this though. Stop with I will solve it in 24 hours. Shut up.
That's pure Trump, man. That's pure Trump. You gotta love it.
He's going to solve all world problems one day at a time, basically. So every year he will accomplish 365 great things. That's what he's telling us. No, it's not going to happen, my friend.
Listen, you know why? You know why it's so funny to me that Trump gives answers like that? Is because he also ran the Miss Universe pageants, and we all know Miss Universe always get up there. I want to solve world peace. I want to bring, I want to end, the greenhouse effect. They're going to end all of these problems just because they're going to win Miss Universe. It's like, that's where he get this from. That's where he get that approach from.
I love it on all his interviews. It's like this. If you can see in the camera as he's talking, it's like this. I don't know what this is, but
every cult leader has hand gestures like that, bro. If you look at every cult leader, they always talking like this with their hands, it's hand movements. So it's puppeteering is what it is. It's puppeteering, but I love it, man. I honestly think Trump was in rare form last night. His form, of course, and it was a couple of different situations where he got to talking about the scandal of him being sued by the lady, which was super funny when he spoke about that, because I'm sorry, the way he put it together. As a matter of fact, I actually have the clip here, and I would play it. Really.
Is this after the decision? Like, that's what you're getting ready to play? Is it his video?
Yes. After the decision. After the decision, but let me see if I can change it. Let me see if I can change it. Yeah. But yeah, he was talking to her last night. He was talking to the same lady last night, and it's just, again, Trump being Trump, and I think he answered this pretty great.
And they went up with the other fake charge too, because what's happening is they're doing this for election interference. This woman, I don't know her. I never met her. I have no idea who she is.
Oh, I might have not played the right one. This is not the right one. Yeah.
That's all right. We all needed a little music in our life.
But
this is a fake story, made up story. We had a horrible Clinton appointed judge. He was horrible. He allowed her to put everything in. He allowed us to put nothing in.
Mr. President,
this is a
you're recounting your version
story.
of events here right now to the audience.
I have no idea who the hell. She's a
Mr.
whack
President,
job.
He said she's a whack job.
That just cost him another $1 million.
He says she's a whack job.
Shut your mouth.
He went way farther than that, though, bro. He went way farther than that. It was
all right. I know what I'm watching tonight, James. Leave me alone. Don't call me after 8:30, okay? I'm watching it, all right?
Got you. But listen, I'm going to be happy to have you as a Trump supporter this year, and you putting Trump or DeSantis in the office. I'm going to be happy when you.
So here's what's funny, right? Like because I almost gave it away earlier, but we were, I don't know where the wife and I were. We were driving this weekend. We were sitting there talking about it. And we were just talking about conversations, podcasts. It had to be Sunday because we were kind of like, what were we going to talk about and all that stuff. And, it's funny because DeSantis, I don't believe yet. I think I would know, but he hasn't come out that he's running or anything like that. But I heard somebody say it's going to be Trump and DeSantis as a vice president. Not a horrible idea.
I love it.
If you're a Republican and you like their beliefs and their power and what they do, right? Because he becomes vice president. You have Trump for 4, and then you have DeSantis for the next 8 years, and he's 50 years old or 52 years old. He's still one of the youngest president, if not the youngest president.
True. And if that's the case,
so you have him for 12 years. You have it for 12 years.
Because I'm pretty sure if DeSantis became vice and then turned around and won president, he can then get Trump as vice. So that'll be a long run. That'll be the longest run in history.
That's what I'm saying. Like that would be that's a strategic play.
Yeah, it's a strategic play. I totally agree with that. So
and again, even so, if they just start supporting each other, like if he doesn't run, DeSantis doesn't run this term, and allows Trump to have it, but he's gonna to grab those supporters. He's gonna have to start. He's gonna have to jump on the bandwagon there. He's gonna just some nuggets here and there. But it's crazy, man. God, man, I'm sorry I missed that interview, man.
Yeah, it was a good one. I almost missed it myself, but Bernadette made sure she sent it to me, so I enjoyed it. I really did enjoy it. Again, if you're not a Trump supporter, totally fine out there. If you're a DeSantis supporter, you're making the right choice on that one. But if you're voting, even Robert Kennedy Jr., I think he's Robert Kennedy Jr. But yeah, I think we got some good choices right now when it comes to possible candidates that's running. I would not put my money behind Biden, and don't think right now a lot of people would, especially due to the fact that one of them may be going to jail. Since this Biden situation has come up about the Biden laptop, the Biden family scandal. So there has been a lot of people in this family that received money. I think they had 15 shell companies. 15 different shell companies that was paying the Biden family members from unsolicited funds from China and other foreign countries. So that says a lot, bro. I mean, how you feeling?
I don't know who these shell companies are. I have no idea who these shell companies are. What are you talking about? I've never met them. I've never done anything. That's what they're going to say, right? Isn't that what Trump does on his side? I'm sure Biden and they're going to do that. They're going to get their hands going. They're going to tell you that they've never heard of these shell companies. It's ridiculous, man. The more and more I look into all of this crap, it's a distraction for something else, man. And I wish there would be some positive outcome out of it instead of all this like hatred that we get from.
I don't know if we can call this hatred. I think this is just literally a bad politician who gave away our country for immediate finances. For
some funds.
And I think at this point, there is too much evidence on this situation to ignore. And the IRS whistleblower who came forward and stated that, once you break down everything and you look into all the documents, we can see it. It's right there in our eyes. We can see what was, being shared, what was being sent over to the Biden's family. And this has to be, we have to take this serious. And I'm not trying to say let's take this serious because it's Biden. I'm saying let's take this serious because we've been saying this since for the last 3 years, and no one has taken it serious until Elon Musk was able to release those documents. And now this is where we are. Let's take a listen real quick to this situation.
This committee is investigating President Biden and his family's shady business deals that capitalize on Joe Biden's public office and risk our country's national security. The president, when confronted with this information, said it wasn't true. Instead of being honest with the American people, President Biden has claimed since the 2020 election that his family has not received money from China. That was a lie in 2020, and he continues to lie to the American people now. The Bidens have received millions of dollars from China. It is inconceivable that the president did not know it.
So it's wild that we're now at this point where re-election is happening. We have race wars.
I would like for you to answer the question.
Okay,
we have race wars. We have gun violence. We have immigration issues. We have presidential scandals. Both presidents, one is being accused of rape. One is being accused of stealing.
Fantastic. Keep going.
We have George,
the list goes on.
We have George Santos being accused of stealing money from the government, being, I think he's going to do 20 years in prison, something like that. Like, where is the boundaries of our American society? How much more can go wrong? What's next? Like, what the hell is next?
That's it, James. Like, again, what is next? Like, what's coming next? Like, it's just it just keeps piling up like our debt.
And I mean, even with the debt ceiling, they still haven't come to the conclusion with that. They're talking about cutting benefits for veterans. They're talking about changing how Social Security is working. Who's going to be eligible for Social Security? If you make a certain amount as a veteran, like my wife's a veteran, due to the fact we're married, my income, her income could be affected because of my income and how much I make. Like, if my daughter works and bring in income, that can affect it. There's so many things. It's so much going on. How do we keep our eye on what's actually?
June 1st is when they have to come to terms, correct? Before June 1st, right?
Yeah, June 1st. Yes, June 1st. They have to come to terms, figure out what's what. And I'm sorry. I have student loan debt myself, but I do not see student loan debt being forgiven by the government anytime soon. So by all means, everybody who's holding up for that $10,000, $20,000, go ahead and forget it. Even though I got student loan debt, I do not support it. I do not support it because it's not in the books or the financial means to satisfy and support us as American citizens.
I like it, James. So you're saying you want to pay your school debt. It's your education. You don't want the government paying for your education. You've got it.
I agree, because we don't have the financial means to do it. We have to print more money, create more inflation, and create more headache for the people who are here really working hard. The middle class is gone. There's no more middle class. What you mean middle class? Where are they? Show them to me. It's either you have it or you don't have it right now. And that's how it's going to continue to be, because everybody is depending on the government to solve their problems. And the more we depend on the government to solve our problems, the more we're going to eliminate our own middle class. China's middle class is up 130% right now. Since in the last 10 years, our middle class is down 85%. It's almost, where is it? We produce nothing. We are creating nothing. Where is our growth?
James, can you help me out understand with your college debt, right? Do you get like is it almost like a car loan, like an interest rate on that money as well? Or do you get 0% for so many years? Is it different per grants and loans and all that stuff? Like how does that necessarily work?
So grants are different than loans. Grants are, the things the government give you just based on the fact that you went to school, you kept a certain grade point. That money you don't have to give back. But due to the fact that I come from an uneducated family structure, uneducated system, I didn't understand the type of debt that I was going into. And interest-wise, I must say, interest-wise, it's not horrible. You know, compared to the amount of money I took out and compared to what I owe, it's not a big interest, you know, added onto it. Like maybe an extra $5,000 out of the multiple $1,000s that I've taken out. So increase on student loan debt is not horrible. But I do not recommend my daughter doing it. I do not recommend my nieces and nephews doing it. If you can't go to community college and just get by on part-time and just get the grants that are being handed to you, do not take out student loan debt. It's not worth it. You know, it's a Ponzi scheme. I think overall, you know, you're not informed properly. Just like when people go get credit cards and cars, you're not informed properly, and they shouldn't give credit. They shouldn't have gave me a loan. They shouldn't have gave me a loan. They expect me to take a 30-minute class and know everything about a student loan, and that's not enough for you to be educated on how to properly, you know, move about. So
definitely.
Awesome. Other than that, last statement, B. Walker said it's not gun violence, it's people violence. Using guns, they're using terms like gun violence to winky dink the masses and take away your constitutional right to bear arms. I totally agree with you on that. That's just me. I do agree. I know Daniel has a gun, right? But you don't have assault rifles. I think your thing is assault rifles.
Correct. And I'm not allowed to say that anymore, I guess, apparently. But you know what I'm saying, right? Yes,
it's okay.
I do have a gun. I have a couple of guns, but you know, I don't carry them around with me all the time, you know, and I don't have any of those. I don't have any guns that have magazines in them. Let's say that. Like I don't like those.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I understand. Overall, just real quick, because Trump made this statement last night in his speech, because she asked about gun violence, and he said you have to look at all of the states in the United States that have extreme gun control laws, like Chicago and New York, but they also are leading in violence and death and murder and crime. These places who have extreme gun laws like China and Russia and Europe are leading in crime, because people aren't afraid to run into your house, take what they want, and the only thing you can, you know, defend yourself with is a knife or, you know, a rock, you know. So it gives people more incentive to just do what they want to do, because again, you're not taking the guns away from the criminals, you're taking the guns away from the law-abiding citizens who want to protect themselves and their family. So when it comes down to the gun laws, could they be changed a little bit? I think the gun laws should be stricter on who can receive guns and how they get them, but I don't think it's taking away the guns from the actual criminals. First of all, guns are being mass produced here in America. You can produce a gun in 45 minutes now with what it's called
3D printer or something like
3D
that.
printers. Like 3D printers can mass produce guns, you know, in hours. So it's like we're producing guns that doesn't have to be registered, and they can just be sold on the street because we're creating the technology to do it. So I think it's deeper than just getting rid of the guns from the law-abiding citizens. I think it's getting rid of the ways to produce and the ways to actually acquire them. So that's the real issue.
Or we just stop making them in general and leave them alone. Just get rid of them.
No, don't agree.
Not gonna happen. Not gonna happen. Yeah. Wishful thinking. I real quick want to answer for B. Walker. She stated that the anchor in the interview with Trump was bad choice. I absolutely loved it, man. It brought so many people probably to that show because how they have butt heads over the last 4 or 5 years. I think that was a great move on their part, but if you want to call her an amateur or whatever it was, but it definitely brought some eyes. It makes me want to go and watch it because I know that they had battles.
Oh, well, in that case, you will love this one.
Very simple to answer.
That's why I asked it.
You will love this.
It's very simple to. You're a nasty person. I'll tell you.
You once said that using the debt ceiling as a negotiating wedge just could not happen. You said that when you were in the Oval Office.
I was president.
So why is it different now that you're out of office?
Because now I'm not president.
Manhattan jury found that you sexually abused the writer E. Jean Carroll and defamed her. You've denied this. But what do you say to voters who say it disqualifies you from being president?
Well, there aren't too many of them because my poll numbers just came out. They went up. Okay.
You defended the comments that you made on that Access Hollywood tape about being able to grab women how you want. Do you stand by those comments?
I said, if you're famous and rich or whatever I said, but I said, if you're a star, you are, and I said, women let you. I didn't say you grab. I said, women let. You didn't use that word, but if you look, women let you. Now, they said, will you take that back? I said, look, for a million years, this is the way it's been.
You still have not publicly acknowledged the 2020 election results. Why should Americans put you back in the White House?
Because we did fantastically. When you look at that result and when you look at what happened during that election, unless you're a very stupid person, you see what happened. Getting rid of Roe v. Wade was an incredible thing for pro-life because it gave pro-life something to negotiate with. Pro-life had absolutely nothing. Everybody that was president wanted to get rid and tried to get rid of Roe v. Wade. But for 50 years, this has been going on. I was able to do it, and I was very honored to do it.
Do you agree with deploying troops to the border, and how will a Trump administration slow down the rate of migrants coming across all our borders?
Sure. A very fair question, especially since tomorrow is going to be a day of infamy. You're going to have tens of thousands of people pouring into our country. Even the judge, the judge overruled them when they wanted to terminate it early. And he said, that you better extend this thing. I have a very good relationship with President Zelensky because, as you know, he backed me up.
And there you have it. Trump and his, again, go watch the interview. If you didn't watch it, go watch the interview. It was really good. And yeah, man, any final thoughts?
No, man. I can't wait to catch the news and watch this full video in its length or its entirety today. But I'm sure we're gonna have tons and tons of stuff to talk about come Monday. Actually, Monday.
Yeah,
I may be on my phone. I'll let you know. I'll let you know. I'll know tomorrow the time frame.
All right, sounds good, man. Just keep me informed. Other than that, everybody, please thank you all for joining in. Make sure you hit that like button, that subscribe button, and the notification bell if you haven't already. And once this show ends, please drop a comment in the comment section below and on YouTube. And if you're on Facebook, just share it with a family and friend. Tag them in this post if you think they can benefit from this conversation. But yeah, I love everybody that comes on and support us. You've been amazing and continue to support us. I look forward to seeing you all Monday. All right.
Yes, sir. Have a good week, guys. Thank you.